Well, good morning. I come to you from the future because here in Australia it's now 1 minute past midnight, and that makes it the 19th day of September in the year of our Lord and Master 2016. The year of our Lord. Anyway, I'm the first one putting out a video today, so that makes me really fucking special because I was first. I better stop this and upload it straight away in case somebody else decides to beat me. Oh, what if someone's doing a live one? Oh, bastards. Can't win, don't try. Fuck it. As you can see, I'm having a ball debunking the ball. I really need a ball because I am upper class, high society. God's gift to ballroom notoriety. If your name is on the guest list, no one can take you higher. Everybody says I've got great balls of fire. Oh, I've got big balls. I've got big balls. And he's got big balls. And she's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. Some balls are held for charity and some for fancy dress. But when they're held for pleasure, they're the balls that I like best. My balls are always bouncing from the left and to the right. It's my belief that my big balls should be held every night. Oh, we've got big balls. We've got big balls. Such big balls. Fancy big balls. And he's got big balls. And she's got big balls. But we have got the biggest balls of them all. I think I've done enough of that. I'm so over that song. It just gets stuck in my head. Oh, pull it, suck it, pull it, suck it, pull it, suck it. Obviously this isn't going to be a video that I'll upload because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm still reading stuff about flat earth. It's the people that don't get it that amuse me. They're always looking for some obscure angle. Where's the edge? Have you actually looked into what the flat earth means? An infinite, endless plane. Never ends, ever. And the part of the earth that we exist in is, it's massive. And it's really fucking awesome. But it's still, in the overall scheme of things, a tiny little part, a lot like that. A lot like that. If that had some water in there and some mold growing on the water and you spun it around a little bit, that's pretty much your miniature version of the earth. Oh, pardon me, I've had some beers. If it rocked a little bit, say it was swinging like a bauble on a big Christmas tree or something, you get a tidal effect. You know, and the idea of a dome too, this is a very interesting one. If the earth was within a dome, this is an idea that came to me many years back, so I have to talk about this one, is because I looked into a lot of the various conspiracies and so forth. One of the ones that always sort of popped up here and there was polar shifts. And the idea of this polar shift is they reckon it happens every 10 or 11,000 years, and every time it happens, it wipes out most everything on the face of the Earth as the poles actually physically shift. So you get massive tidal waves and floods, and some of the animals that can swim quite well and survive in aquatic areas, and that some of them will survive. And then of the mammals that manage to survive, they're usually quite small because they manage to float in stuff. And because also with all the upheaval and the volcanoes and the earthquakes and that, it would cause perpetual darkness from the whole atmosphere being blocked out for like hundreds of years. So most of the animals, the mammals that survive well today, are very much nocturnal. And unlike us, we actually managed to survive because we're sort of a little bit clever with fire. Fire was considered one of the most valuable aspects of initial human survival for many, many hundreds of years back during the last cataclysms and so forth. And that's pretty much how we became friends with the dog, because the dogs sort of followed us because we were able to hunt with fire, and dogs used to, they'd live in their packs outside the edge of the firelight and stuff, but they sort of became our friends because they'd alert us to danger, and so we'd throw them some scraps, and we just sort of developed a relationship over a long period of time as we eventually came out of the darkness and the green-leafed things started to grow again, all the plants and stuff started to come back. Then, the cats and all that sort of lost their position because they were able to dominate, because they were just able to eat meat all the time because there was nothing else to eat. And of course, once the plant eaters started to thrive again, the cats did thrive for a time, but they can't handle that much sunlight. That's why they sleep all day and hunt all night. And as I say, most nocturnal animals are still thriving to this day. But the ones that know how to survive in the light we do alright, I suppose. But there's no reason why we have to live this day-night, 9 to 5 sort of nonsense idea anyway. 24 hours in a day. We could have 3 shifts every single day. That would employ 3 times as many people immediately. There's nothing wrong with being awake in the night time either. I've been doing it for years, doing lots of night cleaning and stuff, and it's actually really good for you physically and mentally. And then to watch the sun coming up in the morning, being awake and working during that time, nothing really compares to that. Like, how many people sleep through the best part of the day, then go and spend excess money to cool their house down during the hot part of the day, or warm it up because it's cold, rather than just live with the seasons and the hours. There's just not enough hours in a day or a night. My hand's a bit sore. Don't even know why. I'm getting a bit of RSI, a bit too much thinking mentally, too much mental stimulation. Or something like that. Mental stimulation. we could debate about that en masse, but that would just be a mass debate. So you're a wanker. What are ya? You're a wanker. Yeah, and got to be good at something. You'd think the flat earth debate would be done and dusted, but no, it keeps coming up. All these people say, yeah, but there's so much evidence and proof for the globe. So the more they tell themselves that, the more they believe it. But if you challenge just one of these people that really thinks this, then they start, pulling in arguments left, right, and saying, oh yeah, but NASA, it's just like, there's a lot of evidence for a globe. I think I'm gonna go and start answering that comment that this person, I can't think of your name, it'll come to me later. You posted twice now. I didn't even allow it on the other one second time, but maybe I will. Copied and pasted, obviously, your long-winded argument for how much evidence there is for a globe Earth. And it's hardly worth my while wasting time responding to it. But I'm going to. Anyway, in fact, I might even run upstairs and read it now and respond to it point by point. So I will. I'm going to do that. Wow, he made a decision. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty big man. Okay, I'm going to hit pause button. I'm going to go up and start reading the comments and responding to them bit by bit. So hold on. Just making sure it hasn't turned off. Alright, well, as usual, the laptop is playing up. I think I might have even saved it to WordPad. Ooh, did I save it? It don't look like it. Bloody hell. File. Open. I don't think I saved it. Bloody hell. It would have only been recent. No, there's nothing even recently saved. Bloody hell. Good thing I didn't start writing the response, I'd be pissed off. Okay, so, well, it hasn't opened up yet. Maybe if I hit refresh on the page. Well, g'day. Thank you for joining me. 77 comments. There are comments waiting approval. I think it's one of these. Review. See, I'm good. Here it is. Gertrude Perkins. This is the one. Read more. Okay. Here we go. Gertrude Perkins. You've asked me this twice now, so this is as good as it's going to get, because I couldn't be fucked sitting down and writing to every single one of these. The evidence that our planet is a globe is absolutely overwhelming. Okay, that's your claim. You want to make a claim like that? Okay, back it up. The onus of proof is on that one making the claim. The evidence that our planet is a globe is absolutely overwhelming. That's how you start. But you don't say anything. You say, but unfortunately, try as one might. All flat earth believing retards will dismiss the evidence, going so far as to dismiss it as Freemason or Jewish/Zionist propaganda. Sadly, a belief in flat earth and anti-Semitism is rife amongst the crazies on the internet. So, first of all, you start making this broad statement, back it up with nothing, no proof whatsoever, then go on to saying, but unfortunately, try as one might, all flat earth believing retards will dismiss the evidence. So the ones who aren't retards won't dismiss the evidence. I don't get it. What evidence are you talking about? And then you bring in Freemasonry and Jewish Zionist propaganda, and then anti-Semitism, of course, because it's rife amongst the crazies on the internet. You know, people who actually investigate shit and realise who the fucking lying, Satan-worshipping scumbags, parasites on humanity are. That makes us crazies on the internet. Fair enough. No wonder. I see where you're coming from. You're obviously on the side of scum-sucking parasites. We are dealing with a minority of extremist religious fundamentalists, even more extreme than young earth creationists, who have taken a metaphor from the Quran or the Bible and are using this as their evidence that the earth is flat. And we are also dealing with an extreme minority of conspiracy theorists who think everything is fake and everything is a conspiracy. Yeah. A minority of extremist religious fundamentalists. So I think that's sort of what you're trying to say about yourself, isn't it, Gertrude Perkins? When you say we are dealing with a minority of extremist religious fundamentalists, people who believe they're the chosen children of God. Even more extreme than young earth creationists. So you're just pulling all this bullshit out of your hat. From where exactly? Okay. Let's just move on. Consider all this, ... as you say. Soviet Russia were the first to launch a satellite into space and in orbit around the Earth, followed later by the first man. They were also pioneers of space station technology, accumulating in the successful MIR program. So I should consider that because, let's make it exotic. Let's call it Soviet Russia. That makes it so much more authentic. And they were the first. They launched a satellite into space and in orbit around the Earth. Later followed by the first man. So Adam later followed this satellite. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Gertrude. The USA conducted 6 successful moon landings and subsequent moon walks by astronauts between 69 to 72. The USA were also early pioneers of space station technology, launching Skylab in the 1970s. You still believe that shit? That we walked on the moon? Really? Really? Subsequent moonwalks by astronauts? 6 successful moon landings. Yeah, they just put those buggies in their little moon landing capsules and played some golf. Yeah. But if you believe we went to the moon between 1969 and 1972, 6 times. 6 times, hey? And space station technology, launching Skylab in the 70s. Skylab, isn't that thing that crashed in outback Australia? Because it couldn't fly for shit. It probably got sick of falling around the Earth, I guess. The International Space Station has crews of different nations, including the USA, the UK, and Russia. The Russian Space Agency pilots astronauts aboard its rockets to the ISS. Well, that adds so much evidence to it being a globe, doesn't it? Because you can make up this bullshit rip-off of our money. In addition to NASA, the Hebrew word to deceive, there's the European Space Agency and the Russian Space Agency, amongst others. Well, there you go. That's proof that the Earth is a globe. Fucking idiot. Most of the developed nations have various government/military and civilian/commercial satellites in space. Well then, if most of them have it, I guess I was wrong all along. These perpetual motion anti-gravity devices whizzing around the Earth that are geostationary must really exist, because most of the developed nations have various... You see all this fucking hearsay? Why are you going to provide some fucking facts, you dickwad? U2 spy plane pilots can view the curvature of the Earth at high altitude. Video footage is available, shot from the cockpit of a U2 spy plane, showing the curvature of the Earth and the flat wings of the spy plane, dismissing the fisheye lens argument used by flat Earth believing retards. Footage of UK TV presenter James May viewing the curvature of the Earth from the cockpit of a U2 spy plane. Yeah, I'm sure he enjoys sitting in the cockpit quite a lot and viewing imaginary curves. Great footage taken from the cockpit of a U2 spy plane showing the curvature of the Earth and flat wings of the plane. Some of the early photographs of the Earth from space were taken before photorealistic computer graphics. Using astronomical telescopes, one can view other planets in our solar system and view them to be globes. If they are globes, then why would the Earth be flat? Well, that makes so much sense. Play a game of billiards and all the balls on the table are round, so must be playing on a round table too. And you cannot view other planets. If you actually look at them, have you ever actually looked at them? Or have you just looked at the cartoons that NASA gives you? Look at the actual planets and you'll see that they're just sonoluminescence shimmering in and out of view. Fucking ball planets. Yeah, and the Q sticks a ball as well, I bet. The continent of Antarctica has been crossed by various explorers, and a variety of nations have scientific bases in Antarctica, doing important scientific research into climate change, the ozone layer, and effects of the sun on our planet and satellites, historical climate change, the effects of pollution on our planets, amongst others. It is also home to colonies of emperor penguins and other wildlife. Well, that fucking proves it's a globe for sure. What a wanker. For navigation to work on a flat Earth, it would require a conspiracy of silence by sailors, pilots, and navigators of most of the nations on Earth. No, they just pay common sense and do what they're told and follow the flat Earth exactly as the maps show and navigation, and they've got no reason to question it. Why would they? Even young Earth creationists and firebrand preachers such as Ken Ham, Kent Hovind, and Pastor Steve Anderson believe the Earth is a globe, as well as numerous so-called truthers. Yeah, well that proves it then, doesn't it? Because some friggin' idiot brainwashed religious tards believe it's a globe? That really convinces me. And numerous so-called truthers don't know any better, because they're not really truthers if they haven't looked into it. How Eratosthenes proved the world is a sphere 2,000 years ago. Yeah, I watched that. I went there. I debunked it. If satellites do not exist, then please explain how one can pick up a GPS signal and use a satellite phone in the middle of the desert where there's no accessible mobile phone signal. They can't. Try it. When in outer space, liquid turns into globules in the weightless environment, whereas on a submarine under the ocean on Earth, liquid remains in a free-flowing liquid state. Yeah? Okay. When was the last time you were in outer space and actually proved that? Huh? When? No? Crickets? Lava erupts from far beneath the Earth's crust. If the Earth is not a globe, where does the lava come from? And what is underneath the lava, if not a spherical core at the centre of the global Earth? Mate, if the Earth was a fucking ball, it would be hollow anyway, because that's how geodes form. And, under high pressure, things get really hot and turn into liquid. It doesn't have to be a ball in order to have lava getting super hot under lots and tons and tons and tons and tons of pressure of Earth pressing in on itself, where eventually it will still float back up to the surface, but the whole thing could still be like an iceberg floating in water, just a really large thing, and it's made out of land floating and wobbling around a bit so it gets tides. It doesn't have to still be a fucking spinning ball ejecting lava from the centre, but keeping everything else on the surface. As the Earth spins, part of the globe is lit up by sunlight and other parts plunged into darkness. But a sun moving around kind of like a spotlight over a flat plane won't do the same. No. As the globe spins on its axis, it is winter in the UK between, say, December to March, whereas in Australia it's summer between, say, December to March. And between June and September it is summer in the UK and winter in Australia. This guy's a fucking genius. I'm so sick of this bullshit. We know this shit. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into some serious stuff. Water is not flat. It follows the curvature of the planet. This is the reason why ships can be seen disappearing and appearing across the ocean. The water is following the curvature of the globe. Well, there you go. I guess I was wrong all this time. Water can curve. Because this fucking idiot, full of all this shit, says so. But has no proof, provides no proof, shows no evidence, but he just says it. So it's true. If the Earth is flat, it isn't, of course, then how do you explain the temperature difference between the North Pole, the equator, or the South Pole? Or wall of ice, as you call it. How about if here's your North Pole and here's your Antarctica around here, and the sun is basically staying in the middle of all that. As it gets away from the North Pole, it's going to get a lot colder. As it gets back closer to it, it gets a bit warmer. But the whole time, the outer perimeter isn't going to get that warm. Maybe a little bit in the southern summer, but it's going to be cold most of the time because it's got a lot further area to cover. I mean, it's so basic. Navigation would simply not work on a flat Earth. God, you fucking rant on and on, don't you? I'm not going to get this done in time. Navigation would not work on a flat Earth. The routes taken by pilots of various nations, various air organisations, military, civilian, passenger and cargo, as well as private planes, do not compute when put on a flat Earth map. They fucking do. They make most sense when put on a flat Earth map. Idiot. One cannot view the curvature of the Earth at ground level. This is kindergarten class level basic physics and geology. And you can't view it even when you're at 110,000 feet either, you fuckwit. Our line of sight is obscured by natural landmass, such as hills, valleys, mountain ranges, as well as structures such as buildings, bridges, etc. This makes viewing the curvature difficult, even on a domestic airplane. Yeah, those bridges get in the way, don't they, you fucking idiot. Atmospheric disturbance, vanishing point, things getting far away, get smaller. Duh. Even if one was standing on the salt plains of Botswana, we could still only see the immediate horizon in front of us and behind us. As we walk across land mass, objects on the horizon behind us start to disappear from view, and objects on the horizon. It's not worth my time reading through all your fucking bullshit, mate. To be able to see the curvature of the Earth with the human eyeball, one must ascend to a very high altitude above the Earth, and the only technology is capable is the U-2 spy plane, the International Space Station, the Russian Soyuz rockets, bearing in mind that US space shuttles are now grounded, and high-altitude balloons. To open a U-2 spy plane or a very high-altitude balloon requires donning a spacesuit because of the extreme cold and lack of oxygen at high altitude. What a fucking idiot. 8 inches per mile. That's all it takes. If you're looking at 10 miles across, left or right, you're going to see a shitload of curvature, but you don't. It's flat. To believe the Earth is flat, one is to deny reality and retreat in the world of fantasy, conspiracy, and willful delusion. That's it. You've got so much proof for the ball there. As I say to flat Earth believers, if you're convinced of your argument, then please put your evidence in writing, seek publication in an august publication such as Nature, and also seek peer review from the worldwide scientific community. And now for something completely different. What a fucking idiot. To believe the Earth is a globe, one has to deny reality and retreat into a world of fantasy, conspiracy, and willful delusion. As I say to globe Earth believers, if you are convinced of your argument, then please put your evidence in writing. Seek publication in an august publication, or even just respond on my videos, because you have no proof of it being a globe other than this false indoctrination that you believe in your stupid globe head. And you have to end with Monty Python, don't you? A comedy skit, because that's what the globe Earth is. It's a comedy skit, a big bang, a big friggin' mindgasm bullshit that you've made up because you've got nothing original to believe in, and so you just believe what you are told, like a good little slave, that you're on this spinning ball trapped around the sun in a perpetual cycle, and that your existence means nothing. Globe heads. Good night.